Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
Hey, what is up, everybody? It is Dan here from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel, and I am joined by the Iron Man of the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling streams tonight, Scott. Been on pretty much every minute of everything.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point.
You guys are probably sick of seeing his face by now.
That can never happen.
But
I started out well, though. You called me the Iron Man, and now you're dissing. Right? It started out well.
The Ironing Man, yeah.
Oh, yeah, not quite.
I think we're also joined by Lucas as well. We are joined by... Is it Lucas or is that Lionel Richie we see there? Give us a song, mate. Are you dancing on the ceiling?
Yeah, I've been meaning to bring this up, Lucas. You have started the Movember trend a bit early here. Are you going to shave it off in November?
Maybe, I'll do reverse November, I guess, isn't it?
Good idea.
Just grow one of those little, tough beards instead.
Oh, God. No. I'm not a hipster. This feels weird to review now.
It does.
It feels really weird.
We've just seen the show.
Literally.
Literally fresh in our heads. No sleep in the way.
Normally now is when we're starting the build-up show.
To be fair,
on Sunday. It is, yeah.
Or normally you're cooking for the build-up show or something.
Well,
because,
usually,
in between. 10, so.
In between. But yeah, it's weird that it was a long time ago that we did the build-up show. That was a lifetime ago. It feels like, especially going through the watch-along. But yeah, there's still some good things on there again. We're not building up to the show anymore, but there's some good conversation between myself and Lucas, and people sending us comments about the Saudi shows in general, and also about the Undertaker. Also, we, like Dan just said, I've been the Iron Man. We did a watch along as well, which was a lot of fun. And if you want to see our instant as it happened reactions to stuff, then definitely check that out as well. But it's been a long one, but still, I'm still in a good mood because it was a good show. It could be worse. I could have been coming into this thinking I'm still talking about this crap, but instead it was a good show.
Yeah, talking of. Yeah, I think and it kind of did start off in a good way. So I hear anyway. I wasn't even home when this match started on the Kickoff show.
A different kind of problem compared to usual, where it's too late.
Usos and Hurt Business this time. Yeah, as I say, too early rather than too late. Were you cooking at that stage or?
No. Yeah, I was actually. Yeah, because it was between the build-up. I wasn't cooking. It was.
Was it lunch?
No, it was dinner time, but I did rush a pasta, which is why for most of the watch along, I am trying not to burp.
Just let it out, mate.
I did a few times.
So obviously I have no idea about. All I know is the Usos won. I know that I got a point for it, but other than that, I don't really know what was this.
I literally, I saw the replays. Yeah, can't say much about it myself either. What about you, Lucas? Did you see any?
Yeah, same. Only watched bits and pieces of it because I had a lot of problems with the. Well, we're not sponsored or anything. With the Xbox app not working basically during this entire period. It was no sound. Then there was subtitles, but sound, and then I couldn't get the subtitles off. Then
apparently there was a lot of this, because Rob had the same issue. First. It was the network. Then his internet messed up during a watch along anyway. But I think a part of it was the network because even I tried to, straight after the pre-show, kickoff that they call it, ended, it literally told me to subscribe. And I was like, I'm logged in. And I kept, and then I started watching it on my phone on the same account. Then I had to go back. So it seems like there was a lot of network problems. It was, what was it, last month or the month before? With the whole subtitle situation again. So...
Okay, so it's a common. Yeah, I had all that going on, but I've seen the replays and I managed to watch a little bit of it, the ending of it basically. Yeah, look, they're two solid tag teams at the end of the day. I mean, just obviously the direction that we spoke about this obviously on the build-up show, the direction the Hurt Business have gone in is obviously not what we would have hoped, and obviously it's weird they're just kind of coming back, but they're taking a lot of losses, which isn't helping really. But this match was decent. It did what it needed to do. It felt very much like the use of a babyface though, from what I kind of saw of it. The Usos, they got the hot tag at the end. They did the double splash and stuff, and the crowd were very receptive to them. And yeah, I don't know whether that's what they thought would happen potentially, and why they maybe didn't put them against another babyface tag team like the Viking Raiders, who obviously just been drafted, or whether it just. I mean, it might have been a way to get the Hurt Business on the show, so they already kind of seemed the audience ready for obviously what was to come later on. But yeah, I think since none of us seen it, maybe we should just move to the next match.
So then we get into the main show, and we go with the Hell in a Cell match, Edge versus Seth Rollins. Longest match on the card by a long way, to be fair.
We could have seen that coming, yeah.
Yeah, Edge doesn't do quick, short matches, but this one went almost half an hour. Hell in a Cell match. Would you say probably one of the better Hell in a Cell matches of the last sort of few years, or?
I'd say it was good. It was a good Hell in a Cell match. It wasn't one of the best, or even of the last few. It was up there as a good one. I do still think it shouldn't have been first. I do think it messed up the pacing later on in the show. But again, it was a good Hell in a Cell match. Hopefully, the end of their feud. They both performed very, very well, as a lot of people did on this card. But yeah, looking back, it definitely was too long for the opener. We've joked a lot about how Edge's matches have been ridiculously long since he come back, and that he is making up a full-time schedule in the part-time role, as Dan mentioned. But yeah, I mean, because of that, that's okay if it's later on in the card. I feel it was a weird way to start the show. It did mean that later on it did start to drag, but as a match in itself, it was enjoyable.
I think maybe going on first though, it's one of those things where if you've got a half an hour match, they feel it might be easy to put it on first. If the half an hour match runs over and you're in 45 minute territory, then it's very hard if it's later on in the show to kind of cut things because you've already kind of there. But whereas obviously if this went over, they had a lot of time to obviously end up cutting things. But then saying that, I think the pacing overall elsewhere was decent. I mean, I've mentioned this a few times on this thing before, but it's just a lot of time is wasted. I get that they have to advertise stuff and they have obviously deals and it's the thing, but it's just when these events are already pushing 4 hours, do we need to see replay after replay after replay, and the same promo packages we see on the pre-show, that we see on Monday Night Raw, that we see on SmackDown for the past few weeks. We need to see this over and over and over and over again, because it's a good almost. I reckon it's over half an hour of the show. It's just absolutely you could get rid of that. If you just, but. Yeah, look, in terms of this match, I thought it was a very good Hell in a Cell match. I can see they did a lot of stuff which is fan service in a way. Obviously, the whole story through this has been obviously Edge's neck, and obviously the more personal angle that Seth Rollins took it down. Obviously, with going to his house and stuff. I enjoyed obviously seeing. I love how they're claiming the unprettier is now Edge's move, since obviously Christian's over in AEW. But obviously, I enjoyed seeing Seth do that finish, and I enjoyed seeing obviously the pay off of that, with the finish with the stomp was quite nice. Using the chain was quite nice too, because obviously in these big matches, one's always got to think okay, they're going to have to do their finish in a kind of dramatic kind of way. Do you know what I mean? Reigns would do his spear maybe onto the steel steps or something like that, or using the steel steps to launch himself obviously into that spear a bit heavier. Obviously moves up the big ending. They suit going off the top rope or climbing a structure or going through a table, that kind of thing. But obviously I was thinking a stomp. How is he gonna? Because obviously surely if you go to the top rope, it's it's more impact, and so it's also it could look weird that he's done the move on himself kind of thing. He could obviously potentially it just look kind of awkward, but obviously using the chain was a smart way around that, I felt. And yeah, I think Edge still looks strong. Even Rollins looked strong, to be fair, in this loss in a weird way, I think.
And I think as well, another way that you can get around making it look different is by totally missing it, which it seems like he did.
It wasn't the best stomp, was it? I mean, they kind of make it look good in the camera angles and Seth's swaying hair. But, To
be fair, Kevin Dunn cut so much, you probably don't know, like, they're probably facing some bloke in the crowd.
The cut probably helped this time, you know? Like, if they didn't have the cut and the wrestler was doing it to a short hair, it'd be a lot more noticeable. So it weren't the worst, but it was a little awkward. But at the same time, I also didn't understand why it was just so much of I'm gonna do your finisher. Like we saw the buckle bomb into the spear, which I think was a great little combination. But it was just a lot of like Edge has about 6 finishes anyway, and then he's gonna steal Seth's. It was just a bit strange in that sense. But I can't lie, man. I enjoyed the match. So.
Yeah, solid match.
Yeah, it did everything it needed to do, like for a Hell in a Cell match sort of thing. Stop people getting in, stop them getting out, stop them running away from each other. You know, what more can you really ask for from
Who would have really ran in though? Like I would have Beth Phoenix.
Beth Phoenix. Who else? Oh, Becky Lynch, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
So they've got to be leading to it. They've got to be leading to a tag match at some point with that.
I guess, but I don't want the feud to continue.
You think?
I think it's over now. I'm hoping though we see more of Edge in the ring. To be fair though, both showing that the legends can still wrestle like more than the 2 times a year that WWE decide that some people are allowed to wrestle. I know it could obviously lead to some people feeling a bit less special, but I think in the day Edge just he was injured for like almost a decade. Like let him just wrestle a bit more now. He obviously still can go. And there's so many people that I would like to see him wrestle. And obviously, if they're going to stick to this kind of 6-match program, and obviously half those matches are going to be one person, for the next couple of years, like he potentially could only be facing another 3 or 4 people, like total, before he has to maybe think about calling it quits again. Because again, he's not going to be able to, he knows he's on borrowed time, doesn't he? And we all do know as fans, so we don't want to see kind of much of it seeing like homeless Edge now. We don't want to see like old kind of balding, kind of Edge in a few years' time. So I think, if he's able to do a bit more, like, perhaps he should. The talent there is so in need of it. I think, it's so in need. Like, how cool would it be, like, seeing Edge, even just facing, someone who, to be fair, like, someone over on the Raw roster. I don't know if he's still on the Raw roster actually. I can't keep up with who's where, but like, some of the younger guys like, on the Raw roster at the moment. Like, there's so many guys I think he could face.
Try and name one. That's
I was going to say Mustafa Ali, but I think he's moving over to SmackDown, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's actually good that you bring that up, really, because he features in the next match that we're going to review. So,
indeed, the main event.
Featuring both, yeah. This is the Lucas Jackson main event, guys, right here. Mustafa Ali versus your man.
Mansoor, the legend.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good match, though, to be fair. Like, we do joke about it being Lucas's favorite wrestling and stuff, but like, and we said before in the predictions, is he really going to get another big moment in his home city? Yeah, he did, and it went very well. I think they played very well, having the Mustafa Ali kind of like go mad and beating down the end. I thought, where's this going? Obviously, they bring out the karate silver medalist, so I'm sure none of us recognize, but I've mentioned it on the watch along already, but like, great for the Saudi fans. I like bringing out, it's like when they brought out Vinnie Jones over here that time, like he wasn't a big superstar at the time in global kind of terms. So, I thought it was like that, and I'm sure that's going to hit a lot of headlines out there, and that's exactly what they kind of need it to do, and that's a great little moment for Mansoor, and obviously for Mustafa Ali as well. We mentioned earlier along, he's kind of said recently on WWE, one of their shows, saying that, I'm the guy to help the guys that are coming up next, not necessarily, I don't think it's going to help me, and I think that is kind of becoming the case, and that is quite evident tonight. I do hope he gets more of a shine, because I think he's amazing. I think he can play so many different roles, and he's proved that from the crap they gave him with Retribution to the babyface and how over he was with the mask and the whole high flying stuff. I think he's a great talent that is being wasted. So, but you could say that about a lot of people, to be fair. So, yeah, hopefully we see more from him. But in the role that he had tonight, he did it perfectly, and it did make Mansoor look good. And again, led to a nice little moment for the fans in the stadium.
and he can go back to now hacking SmackDown, I guess. Obviously, that one storyline that kind of never really paid off that much. Just like,
Well,
oh yeah, I was hacking SmackDown for a little bit, but yeah.
Oh, he made his own
on
stable out of it, which was loosely linked and then went nowhere. But yeah,
very, very weird times. Very, very weird times. Early 2020 SmackDown.
As we mentioned, the karateka was actually called Tariq Hamidi.
Okay, yeah, silver medalist, wasn't he, at this year's Olympics? No, yeah, that's very good stuff. You know, obviously there are people who that doesn't appeal to, but I think with WWE we have learned that, you know, they are like something for everyone. They're trying to grab the mainstream attention like a lot, and stuff like this is done for that. You know, if you're not a fan of karate, if you're not a fan of the Olympics or whatever, then, you know, maybe just on the rewatch, just skip that segment. But I thought it was okay. You know, like obviously Mustafa Ali's a heel. Obviously out comes the kind of local kind of legend, you know, and it makes you realize how big the Olympics is, you know what I mean, as a thing. It's especially in these countries, they really, really get behind them, don't they? Get behind their stars, and obviously seeing people do well. And yeah, I thought it was fine. In terms of the actual match, like, yeah, I think Mansoor was incredible. I think, you know, and this without the bias, I think he's just a really, really good babyface. You know, he kind of has a bit of everything in him, which is what I like, and like, he's able to do the flying, he's able to do the technical stuff, and he's able to kind of just have solid matches, and he's very believable with what he does. And I think Mustafa Ali was the right opponent here, because obviously he's good at making moves, just look like extra little kind of finesse, which is good. And yeah, it was a nice, like, simple kind of 10-minute match. Did what he needed to do, got the hometown pop. Obviously, there's a lot of that, actually, not hometown pops, but a lot of kind of the good guys kind of winning tonight, which felt very weird for WWE. Like, they, you know, they've kind of gone away with some of the more questionable finishes, that we'll get to one a bit later on. But I was happy with this match and happy to see kind of where this goes. I'm assuming there's going to be a rematch on Raw or on SmackDown or something tomorrow. I'm assuming, because, yeah.
If they can get back.
If they can get back, yeah. Well, cross fingers this year, right?
Yeah. If not, it will be a SmackDown on a plane or something. Just,
oh man, that'd be good. Maybe like that Money in the Bank was at the headquarters. I mean, yeah, I'm up for something like that again.
They'll just literally set the ring up on the tarmac at the airport or something. Just right, we're doing it from here. So, or if not, we'll just get 2 hours of Charlotte Flair, because she's still in the States. So that'll be SmackDown. So, but yeah, we've not even mentioned it, by the way. The points. So for the Hell in a Cell match, you two both picked Seth Rollins. Me and Rob both picked Edge. For this match, we all picked Mansoor. So
points all round for Mansoor. I love it.
All round there. So yeah, then we move on to another match that, well, I would say all of us got right. All of us except for the man who's in the screen down here, Lucas.
Man.
RK Bro versus AJ Styles and Omos for the Raw Tag Team titles. Yeah, me and Scott were saying about this on the live show, on the watch along, that we were wondering when Riddle went to the back. We were thinking, what on earth is he going to do? Like, is he coming out with like another scooter for Randy? But coming out on a camel. This match was actually the second shortest match on the entire show, 8 minutes 40 seconds. Obviously, you guys all said that you thought this was going to lead to a split with one of the teams. What's your thoughts on this one then?
Generally, like, a decent match. Yeah, one of those kind of like cliche things we always say. Did what it needed to do. An inoffensive match. It was enjoyable. It was basically just a fun match. Like you said, a moment with Riddle coming out on the camel. Didn't expect it. Kept thinking it was going to be a scooter, even though me and Rob earlier were saying on the watch along, someone's going to ride a camel. And when you look back on it, you go, of course it's Riddle. Like, it's just perfect. Like, of course it was going to be Riddle. So a funny moment. Him especially doing the pose on top and stuff like that. It fits his character. So it is what it is. The match itself, though, again, decent match. Quite just a enjoyable, fun, quick match. Surprised there wasn't a breakup or split on either side, but hey, who knows where it's going next. But yeah, inoffensive match, and just a nice little fun one on the card.
Yeah, that camel didn't look happy though. It looked like it had the right hump.
They never look happy though, to be fair, camels. I guess though as well, like what I didn't actually factor into my prediction is the idiocy that's coming next, obviously of Survivor Series. Well, obviously the Raw Tag Champions will face the SmackDown Tag Champions, because, well, why not? But yes, and obviously it made better sense for
Brand loyalty
to be that tag team rather than to face the Usos, obviously, rather than AJ Styles and Omos. I'm kind of hoping they keep both tag teams together. Like Omos isn't really ready to go solo, I don't think yet, and as obviously proven by their booking of like Braun Strowman, you know, they can't seem to do that push. So just don't do it. Keep it, and they need tag teams anyway. So keep AJ and Omos together. Potentially, maybe it might be their way of maybe getting them off TV for a little bit and then bringing them back. But yeah, look, the match was okay. You know, they kind of worked together a fair few times now. So I think, you know, this kind of was at the end of kind of my limit of this, what I could accept of this feud. It's been a bit more interesting in the last few weeks, obviously, when they only had one of the RK Bro there, so they've been able to have the villains get the up. But you know, now that I kind of think about it, you know, in hindsight, I guess, yeah, like it probably did have an RK Bro victory written all over it. It makes better sense, but I was hopeful that AJ and Omos would win. You know, obviously the RKO finish was good as well. You know, like we said, it's very like, you know, fan favorite, you know, heavy. This, you know, and I will say this actually at this point, and it comes up later too. But like, the Saudi fans are really, really appreciative of everything that's going on. So I can see why, you know, politics aside, why the WWE are so kind of happy to kind of be there, because I mean, I think almost every match got a "This is awesome" chant, or like,
yeah, I mean, I did moan about it about 15 times through the stream, but yeah, I'm glad they enjoyed it. But like, come on, guys, like a lot of times,
yeah, I mean, look, I get that it's a bit kind of, you know, excessive to that extent, but it is much better than seeing, as you see on some of the Raw footage in particular, especially from the second or third hours, where you see people just sat there looking bored on their phones, or
at least they enjoy it
on the way to the toilets and stuff like that. Whereas in Saudi, they're really appreciative of everything they're seeing, and they're getting a good show now, to be fair. So they should be. You know, as we spoke about, obviously on our build-up show, didn't we, Scott? We spoke about how these events have evolved from, you know, house shows that kind of took no bearing on the storylines and obviously didn't obviously follow the practices and standards that obviously WWE have followed throughout the past kind of few years, especially when it comes to the women's stuff. But now it's a proper pay-per-view in its own right. But yeah, the match was decent. Annoyed I lost a point, but hey ho.
Yeah, I think it was one of those where, you know, it did what it kind of needed to do, in a sense of, obviously it was a good tag team match on the show. But yeah, and yeah, I mean, I don't really think. I think whenever you've got a match that's got AJ Styles in it, I think, you know, he can easily carry that team. And we did mention briefly on the original Watch Along show, that if they did split up AJ and Omos, then obviously you've got a ready-made like feud right there with AJ taking on Omos, and it can only help Omos as well, because obviously him being like somewhat green in the ring, you know, getting in there with someone as experienced as AJ, you know, he's only going to learn. And, you know, I think AJ could probably have a good match with like just himself pretty much. So.
Yeah, he's a brilliant worker.
But yeah, so we'll move on now to the shortest match on the card. No surprises what one that was. That was the Queen's Crown Tournament final match, or as we like to call it, the Queen of the Ring final. There we go. Which featured Doudrop and Zelina Vega. Scott, you predicted that Doudrop was going to win. The rest of us all said we were going to see Queen Zelina. Yeah, this one, obviously, it went probably double the length of every other match in this tournament at 5 minutes and 55 seconds. So, yeah, what did you guys think of this?
Well, like I say, I went for Doudrop, but that was more with my mind rather than my heart. I wanted Zelina to win, and I've said this kind of time and time again now, over tonight on the watch along and on the build up. But I just felt like it was what they would do. I felt like it was going to be another Nikki ASH moment and another Otis moment where they take advantage of what they've got going on, and they're like, well, this is what we're running with. And they weren't going to give it to Zelina, who carried Raw in the pandemic era at the start and got let go and then came back and didn't get the kind of jump ahead that we thought she would. So it made sense for that. I wanted it to be Zelina. I'm glad it is Zelina. Obviously not in a points kind of way, because I'm disappointed it's messing up in the quest to retain my trophy. But at the same time, again, like I got to say, I'm glad it is Zelina, and I didn't want it to be Doudrop. Not that I'm against her or anything like that. She's a great performer as well, but I felt like it would have been rushed. But I was just fearful that WWE would do it. Felt like the typical kind of thing, so I went with that. As far as the match itself, I thought it was good. The surprise ending from her basically just getting it out of nowhere, it felt like a bit more of a baby face thing. You know, it didn't feel like something a heel should be doing. But at the same time, many times it's a surprise shock ending. Hey, I'm all for it anyway. So very good to see her win. Glad that she won as a fan of Zelina. And hey, I lost some points, but that it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't think you mind when the result is, you know, what you want. You know, when you lose a point. I know obviously we're discussing it, and there was a big kind of big kind of movement, I guess, for Doudrop to people get behind. And I get the message, but yeah, like I spoke about in the pre-predictions thing, I think it's one of those things where the gimmick isn't a go to the person usually, and it'd be interesting to see, particularly when we get to the men's one, you know, how that's going to work. But it was literally fit for. But when I saw the tournament brackets, I thought Shayna Baszler or Zelina Vega. You know, basically once Zelina had won her first round match, I was like, oh, this is interesting. I predicted the final to be Zelina. I predicted it to be Zelina versus Shayna, because they got Shayna out, obviously, you know, in the semi-finals. But yeah, look, I don't think Doudrop's hurt by this really. Like, you know, she's got that kind of decent-ish kind of spot on Raw where, you know, she'll kind of win more matches than she loses, and she'll have feuds obviously going on after this. But I think Vega really needed this, and it was one of those where, you know, she just re-signed with the company. Like, you know, people would be begging the question of like why she would have done, like, if she hadn't have got a kind of win kind of soon, because she hadn't really done much since she come back. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Zelina Vega. She's more than capable in the ring, and yeah, I thought it was okay for what it was. Like, it was never going to be like, you know, this is where you do see the gulf in class between, like, you know, these women and obviously the women like that, you know, came later on, you know, in the triple threat match. You know, there's just a gulf in class, obviously, and it'd be interesting to see if we can get someone else into that title picture very soon, like on either brand. But yeah, what do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I think you look like Brock Lesnar at the moment, but you got something on your face that's bright red. So.
What?
He was looking like Brock Lesnar. He had this like red light shining on his face. It made his face look bright red. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I thought it was decent. You know, I mentioned on the watch along that, you know, I was thinking that the final the overall final would have been like Shayna Baszler and like Liv Morgan or something like that. And yeah, I think it was kind of, I guess, made like the gimmick that Shayna's got at the moment. Obviously, the Queen of Spades. You think, you know, that could have like fitted in quite well with that, but. You know, I feel as though Zelina could really run with this, and it's going to be interesting now to have like a queen and a king to see, like, will both of them like fully take on those gimmicks, or will they?
Is Zelina on Raw or SmackDown?
So she was on SmackDown, right?
Yes. Oh, so there we go. Yeah, she's on the SmackDown brand, performing under the ring name of Queen Zelina. There we go.
Okay. So they've all literally given her the gimmick already. And they didn't take a Woods yet.
Xavier Woods is going under the ring name Xavier Woods. Who is the current King of the Ring?
I think that's because, like we mentioned earlier on the watch along, they called him King Xavier. He called himself King Woods. So maybe they got to iron out a few things there before they make some merch.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I've got a little fact about that in a second.
Should we go into talking about that before we go to the No Holds Barred match? While we're talking on the subject of like the King of the Ring, Queen's Crown stuff, we do it together, or
could do.
Yeah,
yeah. Lucas, did you want to say something else about that match, or?
Yeah, it could. It's linked, isn't it? Really. Yeah. My point was, now they're going to have there's two of these gimmicks on the same show, essentially. So obviously when Zelina won, I was like thinking, oh, Balor's going to win, obviously, the King of the Ring. And that didn't happen. I was really sorry, spoiling people. That didn't happen. And so now we've got two of those King gimmicks on the same show. And obviously Xavier was also part of a tag team, which complicates it even more so now, because obviously he's not going to be solo. And I mean, maybe, I don't know, like, you know, I guess like, not dream thinking, but if you really, really want to go this way, it could end some dissension between him and Kofi potentially, because obviously he's now King Xavier. Interesting fact on that: King Xavier was the first black cartoon supervillain. Be fair, yeah, the Cartoon Network show in the 90s. So it might be something again where they maybe can't get the trademark to it. That's what I'm thinking. As that show, I think it's just come back as well or something. But anyway, it does sound very kingy, doesn't it? Though
it does.
It sounds like there was a King Xavier at some point in history. But I didn't see that one coming at all. Did you guys? Did you predict it? Who predicted Woods?
What were the predictions for that? I think I went Woods for the feel good. I felt like my heart went there, but my mind went on the Dewdrop one. But yeah, I think I went for. I did, didn't I? Yeah, I went to.
Yeah. So every one of us except Lucas said Xavier Woods was going to win.
Wow, you knew something. You knew something I didn't know then.
Yeah, I mean, I just felt like. Yeah, the way they pushed it, I felt like it was. I could see the whole Prince becomes a king, but it just didn't feel like his time. It felt like, and like I said on the build-up, I was a bit concerned that maybe it was the wrong time for Xavier to have like, well, we've got a solo New Day guy doing really well at the moment. We don't need two of them, you know. So, but as I mentioned, like I don't see WWE giving him a world title, so this might be it, you know. And this is the kind of we've had two world champions from the New Day, and we've had a King of the Ring. What a great group they were, you know. So that's not what I'm saying, Xavier. If you ever get around to seeing this, I think you're great, but just the way they've kind of treated you so far, it doesn't feel like you're it now. Could it become that? Because the King of the Ring does end up being that stepping stone a lot of times, but who knows how they're going to use it. I'm just happy he's got it right now. I'm happy he won. I think it was the right decision. It wasn't needed for Finn. Finn going around being the king doesn't really work for me. It either needs to be a heel or a babyface that is like wacky, like Xavier Wood, that can go, hey, I'm the king. And everybody goes, hey, he's a funny guy. He is the king. Or it can either be that or the smug, I'm the king. So it only works with a certain type of babyface. I think if it was Finn, it would have been a bit too smug in a negative way, and he would have felt like a heel. So I think if it's going to be anyone, and again, it's his dream, and he grew up like us watching King of the Ring, and it meant something to him. He campaigned about bringing it back. You know, it was even before it was announced, he was saying, I'm going to be King of the Ring. And to see it come to fruition, I'm very, very happy to see.
Yeah, I think for him, for definite, it's amazing. And obviously, as we say, growing up watching King of the Ring, like I remember, I think the year I started watching wrestling was when Edge won King of the Ring. So we had Edge and then Brock Lesnar winning King of the Ring. So yeah, it was
some big names.
Two names that were obviously on this show, and obviously one of the most famous ones that propelled a superstar was Stone Cold Steve Austin, wasn't it? Austin 316. So it was pretty much born out of him becoming King of the Ring. So maybe we'll get Woods. We'll get Woods 316 now. So
yeah, I think like this is obviously they do value Woods, and yeah, like you're saying, this might be kind of the peak for him potentially. But then we never know. We honestly never know. I would never in a million years thought that Big E would be WWE champion.
Yeah, or even Kofi, the way they maneuvered Kofi. Because back in the day when Kofi had that feud with Randy, I was like, yeah, he's the next guy. And then he kind of found his level from it seemed. Not what I thought, but the way he was presented. And then like they pushed him through that and they gave him that opportunity. So you're right. Who knows where it's going to go?
Look, I think the sky's the limit in terms of that stable, like in terms of what they've done for the business. You know, to be fair, we could do a whole podcast with the New Day about what they've achieved and what they can do still. You know, because they're still going to go on and they're still going to do stuff. But it's been phenomenal ride so far. And yeah, look, I'm happy for Xavier. It's just obviously thinking about this King gimmick, where they go with it. You know, but we might find this like a different kind of way of it being done potentially. And Xavier being a fan of it, I think helps this because, you know, he's very creative, obviously, as we've seen, obviously, through the New Day stuff, to be fair. He is the spearhead behind this, isn't he? You know, originally, you know, and obviously they all came together and added more ideas, but Woods is at the heart of, obviously, a lot of this kind of stuff they've done. So I'll be interested in what they do with this going forward. I think all around some really good stuff there, though, to be fair.
Yeah, and so the match obviously that was sandwiched in between the two finals was the originally no holds barred match, but then turned into a no holds barred Falls Count Anywhere match between Goldberg and Bobby Lashley. We knew that this was just going to be two men beating the absolute heckins out of each other. Almost swore there. Well done, I didn't. So,
well done.
Hey. It's been that was a decent enough match. 11 minutes 25. That's probably about 7 or 8 minutes longer than most Goldberg matches usually go. But I think it didn't feel like it dragged. It was, and obviously we mentioned on the watch along as well with Lashley when he was going to the corner, it looked like he'd put something in the turnbuckle and then obviously pulling the chain out as well. It's probably the same one that they used earlier. But
recycling, very important.
Yeah,
let
me borrow that.
good for the environment. And
your paper straws next.
No, don't get me started on paper straws. Them things are awful. Yeah, disintegrate into mush.
Hey, good for the environment, not good for your milkshake. Let's just leave it there.
Yeah, exactly. But talking of things that are not good. We had there was a few seemingly dodgy bits I felt from Goldberg in this, when he was looking a little bit worse for wear. A couple of times he hit the corner by the looks of it, and
it's hard to tell if he's selling, because it happens in all of these matches now. It feels like Goldberg goes through this kind of cycle of, yep, I'm battered. You know what I mean? And it's like, is that really the story they want to tell? I mean, I think the visual at the end, the final spear was fantastic, and Goldberg not going for the jackhammer, as you'll see on the watch along, shocked me. I thought, what are you doing? Like, it was almost like Goldberg, the character, and we kind of mentioned this a few months back, wanted to make a point of going, I can do those long matches, and they turned it into, I can do this for my son, which is strange not having the son there. I thought they missed a trick there, but again, maybe it's tough to get him to Saudi. I don't know, but I like the fact it went longer because it surprised me. I like the kind of final moves that you had and stuff like that. But I am a bit confused about Goldberg. I'm thinking, is that genuine? Are you just really good at selling what's going on there? Have you decided to sell that way every single time you have a big match, or are you genuinely blown up? Because even the jackhammer, it weren't as bad as the Taker one, nowhere near as bad. But he nearly lost it. It did twist at a bit of an awkward time, and I thought, all right, that's it. But for a match again, for a Goldberg match, for a kind of big, a quick, powerful match, I thought it was a decent one. And I'm surprised and pleasantly surprised with the fact it didn't end so quick. And he did a few more power moves, and Goldberg kind of got the win the way he did.
Yeah, I think he does need to hold off on doing that jackhammer on bigger guys as well. I think.
Yeah.
I honestly thought that was the reason that Cedric was out. When they had Cedric and Benjamin come out, I thought Cedric and Benjamin would have come out earlier.
Jackhammer.
And I thought, you know what? Yeah, let him do the jackhammer, but do it on someone that's smaller, that he'll have a bit more control over it. But because you got to think as well, by that point in the match when he hit that, when he hit the jackhammer, he was literally so sweaty as well. So he's gonna be he's gonna be slipping all over the place anyway. And we know Lashley can get rather sweaty during the matches as well, but
that's it. It's not he's struggling on us, boys. Don't get me wrong, but in 1998, for example, around then when he does it to the Giant and Kevin Nash, it's well, fair enough. They're a different kind of build. I'm gonna do a quicker one, and it's fine. It's a different kind of jackhammer. I think that's how he's got to start being with these guys now. I think back in the day, Big E would have got the kind of not Big E. I'm just thinking about that dream match again. Bobby Lashley, The Undertaker would have got those kind of prolonged ones, but now we don't need to see that. We know what Goldberg is. He can do the quick one. I think he should be giving him a giant jackhammer and a Kevin Nash jackhammer. We don't need to be seeing this kind of held up longer because it is very risky. Again, still strong, still beat the crap out of us. Don't get me wrong, but it's not 1998, and that's okay.
No, I thought the jackhammer was all right. I think it's never going to be. I think the problem is it's never going to be what it was. That's the thing. It's never going to be what it was. But I think he did it safely tonight at least. I really dug this match though. I think, you know, they've done some weird stuff with Goldberg, mainly just keep putting him title matches, which obviously isn't good. But again, like, I think the effect of obviously AEW and seeing that, like, look, they're fine, like, having guys who are legends or Hall of Famers or whatever, just have normal matches. But they don't need to have, like, we don't need to live in the time capsule where we pretend that Goldberg is the same Goldberg from 20 years ago, you know, but yet he's having matches and he's old, he's noticeably older and slower. You know, let's let him go in a new direction with. There's no, because again, with these, again, I don't know if the Saudi deal was separate from his 2-match contract a year. But it's a bit like, well, you know, he needs to do more stuff, and like, if they're only going to have him 2 matches a year, it's like, well, you're not going to get a chance to do that unless you start it now, really. But look, yeah, I thought it was all done really perfectly. Like, especially at the end bit, like they gave him a lot of time to basically like kind of chill a bit, because we have to remember again, it was almost 30 degrees there, which is hard for us to factor in, obviously, because obviously we're barely over 10 degrees, I think, over in the UK at the moment, even in the day, but they were 29 degrees at night, you know, and obviously he's a 54-year-old man, you know, who wrestles part-time, essentially, and only really ever did 2 or 3 moves, you know, to success previously. So, you know, but it was good that they gave a lot of time, like a lot of time between the different spots. And yeah, the end visual, that's kind of what they were after, wasn't it, all along? And the minute they said full credit anywhere, I was like, yeah, there's something happening outside the ring, no matter which way we see it. And yeah, no, but overall, really good match. And I think it was probably the right decision. I think Lashley can eat that loss a bit better as the villain, and can crawl back into, obviously, a bigger picture, obviously, for he's a full-time roster member.
Yeah, and obviously used to both predicting Goldberg. Me and Rob both went for Lashley to win. But yeah, moving on now to something that we all predicted correctly, and that was the retention of Big E over Drew McIntyre. I think what made this one kind of a bit easier was the fact of obviously Drew moving to SmackDown, but then obviously that doesn't always work out the way that we would expect, obviously, with the upcoming match as well. But yeah, I thought this match, 13 minutes, 25 seconds of 2 men, again, just beating the heck out of each other. And why not? You know, it was a fun match, you know, 2 guys that have seemingly huge respect for each other in and outside of the ring. And yeah, I enjoyed this match. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I had kind of reservations about it being quite slow at times. And also the babyface versus babyface dynamic. I do think it was possibly a mistake at this time to, and I mentioned it quite a bit in the watch along, so I won't go on about too much, but they haven't seen this version of Drew. And much like when he came here, yes, that version of Drew did get a bit stale. Like, he carried WWE for many, many months. And then, like, he stepped away from the title and he's going back into it now. But when he came to London, we were all excited because we were like, respect Drew. Like, you carried this company. You know what I mean? Like, and from that Rumble run that everybody loved to beating Brock and after that as well was great. And I think it was a risky thing because a lot of people, first I thought it was 50-50, but I think a lot of people were after McIntyre to win this. That he got way more chance. Not say they don't like Big E, but I do think that kind of thing, like, people were bursting to let out what they had seen and appreciated about McIntyre over this entire run since they weren't able to see him. Because last time he went there, he was either just turned face or he was still a heel. So it was the first time really a lot of those people got to express that. So I do think that was a bit of a risky move. Maybe they'll look back on. But as far as the match goes, again, yeah, very good. One of those whole cliche, did what he needed to do. And I think it was the right result. Kind of makes Drew look a bit bad if he is going to go to SmackDown and now challenge Roman. I'm now going to go after the kingpin, the big dog, the guy that is running riot over the entire company, but I couldn't beat Big E.
Yeah, I think obviously I don't think it's going to hurt Drew too much, though, to be fair. I think, you know, he's going to go on to SmackDown. I think he'll still go into that as like a kind of top level. But yeah, we were saying as well, so I think they're just trying to get Roman to Mania with the belt. So, you know, they'll probably, you know, I just hope they don't like kind of bury Drew too much in it. But, you know, he could always be like one of these like real credible, like top tier intercontinental champions as well. Obviously, winning that in his first reign as the chosen one, but that's another direction that they could always go in. And so then sticking with SmackDown, SmackDown Women's Championship, the penultimate match, second longest match of the night. Obviously, the Rollins household were definitely not being paid by the hour for this one. Becky Lynch defending Raw's Becky Lynch defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Raw's Bianca Belair and SmackDown's Sasha Banks. So I went with Sasha Banks to win this, obviously, because I thought, you know what, this makes the most logical sense. The only one that's going to be on SmackDown after this show. But you guys all correctly said that there would be a Becky Lynch retention. Obviously, there was a bit of a shenanigans with the finish. Becky obviously holding the ropes. So what did you guys think of the women's triple threat match for the SmackDown Women's title?
Yeah, it's really good, to be fair. It's just really good. A few kind of stumbles in there, like at times. I think these triple threat matches, are everything in a triple threat match, in my opinion, has been done already, and it's just finding kind of different places to put the same spots, really. And they exhausted them obviously early in the year when they had obviously them back to back at WrestleMania and then that WrestleMania Backlash. It's a very hard kind of thing to do, I think, as a wrestler, to have this triple threat scenario work. But they've done quite well with this, and obviously having the three women kind of all intertwine, with this story. Some really impressive stuff in there, though. I didn't really get why, though, Becky Lynch went for like a straight up armbar before she did the disarmer the first time, though, and they were acting like that was how she always done it. Like she'd never done that way ever before. Like it was always been with the person on their front. Or she's never just done like an armbar because that's not the finish. But yeah, like I think, we wasn't going to get through the night without a roll-up finish. It's a WWE event. They were waiting. And to be fair, they waited to the end to give us two...
Yeah, credit where it's due.
They waited to the end to give us two of the WWE finishes that they're famous for. Obviously, the next one we discuss in the next match. But I think the right decision... I mean, what I touched on my prediction was that obviously they're going to lead to the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champions obviously colliding at Survivor Series. So they're going to be on each other's brands anyway. So the brand split factor that Dan obviously factors into this, I don't think it really mattered because the champion's going to be on both shows anyway now. So, there was no kind of, we've got to get on Sasha now. Because I can literally just get it on Sasha, the SmackDown after Survivor Series, if that's what they want to do. Because the next month, the champion's going to be on both shows anyway.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, we was talking about this as well, on the watch along thing. It's going to be interesting to see which direction they go obviously with it now, because are they just going to do a straight up belt swap, or are they going to have the champions go across both shows? So I think
fun match in general though. Like I think we would have it was fun, and
all worked really well together as well.
Yeah, and especially adding Bianca into that mix as a kind of new thing for the two. They did touch on that in commentary as well, and she performed very well. That one-armed press, incredible, absolutely incredible. And I enjoyed the match.
Girl has got some strength behind her, and it was a very, very good match. So so let's move on now to the main event, obviously the proper main event, Lucas, not Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali, and that was for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns defending against the Beast, Brock Lesnar, it's a decent main event actually. We have a comment as well saying that there should be a rematch. Mean Artangan, sorry if I've absolutely butchered your name there. But said that he wants a rematch between Roman and Brock. I think we're probably going to be leading to that, possibly at WrestleMania. But yeah, what did you guys think of this match? And obviously, the big thing surrounding it was going to be what was going to happen with Paul Heyman. We touched on it, that the fact of the promo with Paul Heyman when he said that he is coming into it as with the reigning defending blah 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 champion Roman Reigns, and then he's going to be leaving with the reigning defending blah 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 Universal Champion. Didn't say a name, and yeah.
Oh,
he
Heyman's
did indeed
perfect.
leave with the champion. Paul Heyman, yeah, he is incredible. He is like...
Because he got us talking about it. You know, I still felt like the way to go is the way they went, and I'm happy. But you're right, like Heyman is just great. Like it made us talk about it, even though I was like, nah, I don't think it's gonna happen. Then he says that, and it's like, but I'm glad I'm talking about it. Like he said it like that on purpose, and that's good. You know, I'm always happy to kind of see stuff like that, and I'm glad they didn't go with it. And again, we kind of touched on it on the watch along anyway, because I hope Brock goes away now and comes back. I think this feud has life in it again, and I think there's life in even Heyman turning, Roman turning face, and whatever else. But now wasn't the time for it. We need Roman with the title. We need Roman as a heel. We need the bloodline strong. We need Heyman with the bloodline. But I like the fact they had this ready-made feud there, teasing it in a very, very good way, and they didn't quite pull the trigger. But they still kind of played with it. Heyman throwing the title in the middle. Heyman's still not really showing a lot of emotion in the match. Heyman also, like, they can drop this, or Roman can still question him and then drop it. Like, there's a lot they can do with this where we drag it out. I don't want the rematch to be next month. I do hope it's in a few months' time. And yeah, I'm just happy to see more of them again, because it is another version of Brock and Roman, another new dynamic. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, look, I think this was the right way to go about things. I mean, my God, Brock, though, like the size of him, just incredible. Like, yeah, just wow. And yeah, like I just think that, you know, and when they announced the whole presentation of this entire feud, you know, the presentation of both the guys in the feud, Heyman's involvement and Uso's involvement, like it's just all wonderful. And stuff which, you know, really, really other feuds need to be looking at and going, how can we get a little bit of that? Because, yeah, it was wonderful. Like, I like how the announcers are really building up the fact that Brock always been away for 19 months, and like he's just been doing his hunting and fishing. Like, it feels very much like this is a proper Brock Lesnar, you know. And I mean, in some ways, it's not too dissimilar from when, obviously, we spoke about him on our build-up show. Obviously, Undertaker, when he was near retirement, he kind of started loosening up. You know, obviously they accepted the fact that he was a man who had a family, you know, had a wife, had kids, etc. And, you know, one has to imagine that this possibly could be the last contract Brock Lesnar obviously signs to the company, being obviously mid-40s already and not needing the money, of course. He's probably earned more from this than anyone else, you know, in recent history anyway. But yeah, no, I thought the match itself was wonderful. I think it was nice obviously seeing that Roman is strong enough and believably strong enough to block in those suplex attempts. You know, because how many times have we seen so many Brock Lesnar matches where it is just like lock up suplex, you know, like, I mean, he just throws you about. And even in the original Roman and Brock, you know, it was that, wasn't it? It was, he just threw him about. And that was that, but he was blocked, and then obviously it got built up, and then the F5 happened, and there was a kick out, you know, and it built and it built and it built and it built, and yeah, like Brock just looked really good coming out of this. I think doing the belt shot, like, it will be controversial. Some people might not like that stuff, you know, as this obviously is, like I said, these two matches. The last two matches were the ones where WWE went, okay, we're going to have proper sports entertainment kind of finish. You know, with obviously the deadly roll up in the women's match, and then, of course, this one having the shenanigans going on. You know, did I predict this one as a no contest?
Yeah, so you lost the point on it.
Almost happened, almost. Because there was that moment there when the Usos came out. I was like, okay, is the ref going to come back, like, after the kick, and then see Roman use the belt maybe, and then call the match off. But I think, yeah, that was the right way to go. Like, you know, obviously you couldn't really have him tap out or pass out. That would obviously kill the story dead. To pin him after just like a spear, I think Wyatt could have had the impact. I think, you know, they have to be assessing the fact that the spear is now really overused, you know, in their product. So I don't think it would have the same effect.
Especially when Edge has been, you know, using it so much, and Goldberg had it on the big finish as well.
Yeah, and even
Lashley's as well. Lashley's finisher.
you know. And so I think this was the correct way to go. And yeah, like that obviously idea, obviously the belt being thrown, and they both sold that really well. You know, Brock doesn't get enough credit, I don't think. Sorry, can't pronounce the name, but over push Roman. Are you saying that's a bad thing?
Yeah, I don't quite feel like we're at that. I mean, it's a different kind of Roman. I think if you're looking in that mindset of the way Roman used to be, yeah. I mean, yes, he's won so much, but I think it makes sense storyline-wise and for his character now, whereas it didn't used to. It felt forced. But I can understand why some people might see it that way. You know, it might seem a bit hypocritical that we're like suddenly like, keep it on him forever, you know. But it is a different Roman. Like for me, it's still exciting.
But it is getting to the point now where, okay, look, you know, in back-to-back pay-per-view matches, he has beaten Edge, he has beaten John Cena, he has beaten the Demon Finn Balor, and he's beaten Brock Lesnar. This is an incredible run. Like, you know, and that's even not mentioning the fact earlier in the year he beat Kevin Owens 3 times, Daniel Bryan, and you know, so many people, you know, throughout this run. You know, this is entering kind of like territory of like unheard, unspoken of in the same title run. You know, he's beating these people.
And I think he's only got to get to, I think it's the middle of January, and he's overtaken Brock Lesnar as the all-time.
Surely, yeah. I mean, surely that's what
having the all-time Universal Championship record thing. But yeah, I think, you know, overall, I thought it was really, really good the way that they did it. I've not seen like a nice title shot to the head in a long time.
True.
In a while.
Were they banned at one point, or like, you know, was it? If I imagine that, I get a feeling they were banned or something, or they were frowned upon at one point.
Maybe, yeah,
possibly.
Maybe because the chair's not to the head and titles being used as like prestigious. Who knows? Like, I can see it both ways, but
yeah, it's true. But so it was harmless match. It was pretty good. Paul Heyman obviously being conflicting was really, really good. And you know, we mentioned as well, the thing that was making us laugh the most was probably the Brock Lesnar, the hair on Brock Lesnar, basically being the
Dan's going to do that, by the way, Lucas. Dan's agreed. He agreed on.
He hasn't.
he has the pressure in him. Peer pressure.
All right, I'll make you a deal. I'll do the Brock Lesnar if you do the Paul Heyman.
Yeah, we did say it was like 2 pieces that should fit together. So yeah.
If you take Brock Lesnar's hair and Paul Heyman's hair, combine it, you've got a full head of hair.
It should be a spoiler that they're getting back together, right, guys?
Yeah, and then you get Roman's hair.
Perfect.
But yeah, and one thing though is Roman Reigns definitely needs to give Brock Lesnar the number of his dentist as well, because seen the state of them teeth on Lesnar. Mate, some of them. Mind you, anyway. As I say, good match though. Paul Heyman, as he said, did leave with the Universal Champion. The Bloodline are all still champions.
No Undertaker.
No Undertaker, random thing that he showed up for in Saudi Arabia, but you'd think that
I guess he's still partying.
Do you think it's one of those red herring things though? Like, he got Twitter going for a few hours, and
maybe
it's one of those where he's gonna make money anyway. You know, that's just, you know, it was so left field, I think, as well. Like,
it did seem clear to show up
in Saudi.
It was like that year in the year in the Royal Rumble, I think it was, when they had Victoria's name, I think, show up on the Titantron. Because fans had seen it. So I think it's supposed to happen. I don't think. I mean, they knew Undertaker's news would get out, but I think it seemed obviously to show up. But I think, like I said to you on a watch along, Dan, that I think maybe it was just a case of, you guys are going to Saudi? I'll come with you. And I think he went there to shake some hands or whatever behind the scene, but just not be on a show. He probably did meet with all kind of like higher ups and whatever else. So maybe he just fulfilled his role like that and didn't need to be on the screen. But bit of a shock of that.
I think on this show it wasn't needed either. There was no spot.
It was stacked, as we mentioned earlier.
It was very stacked. It was almost, it was a 4-hour pay-per-view. Like, at what point do you add him in? Like,
especially without a storyline as well.
Yeah, without a storyline, without a purpose or reason. There wasn't really a time for it, and it didn't need it. They already had seen like quite a lot, so But look, overall, I think it was a very good Saudi show, and I guess next time round we got to get our red and blue t-shirts on. As,
SmackDown, baby.
To be fair,
tomorrow.
I have one of each, a Raw and a SmackDown.
Oh, who's he going to side with?
Half and half, isn't it? So, yeah.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. Like, it's the 1 month of the year where this brand split somehow matters.
At the worst time when they've only just got allegiance as well. But that's another video for another day. Another rant. I'm sure we could spend about 5 hours ranting about that, like we seem to every 5 minutes of every podcast. But
exactly. But yeah, I mean, obviously we need to throw over to the most important thing that matters on this, and that is the predictions table. So, do we remember what it was like going into Extreme Rules, into Crown Jewel?
I think you're at the top with me.
Yeah,
going into Crown Jewel, I was on 24, Rob on 23, Scott and Lucas, you were both on 22.
Okay, I thought you were joined. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Well, going into coming out of Extreme Rules,
woof.
Me and Rob both sit on 32 points. Scott on 30. Lucas, had you not used your bonus point, you would have been sitting probably with the rest of us. Well, you'd have been sitting on 29 if you'd have said Roman Reigns.
It would have been said Reigns as well, but yeah.
But yeah, so going into Survivor Series, that is going to be it. Obviously, which side are you going to choose? Are you going to choose Team Dan, Team Rob, Team Scott, Team Lucas? So battle for brand supremacy here. So obviously, Scott is walking in and walking out with the reigning defending champion. So anyway, that is it, I guess, for for Crown Jewel 2021. Just want to say thank you to everyone that's tuned in over all 3 of these videos. I'm going to say a personal thank you to Scott for literally sticking through this entire thing. So kudos to you, well done. Literally stuck around for pretty much the entire thing. You must be bloody.
Yeah, I think I started at 3:30.
Yeah, so go and have a nice bath, bathe your tonsils in there a little bit, and have some fun. But anyway, so thank you guys. As we say, you can still go back, and if you want to, you can go back and watch the build up, watch the watch along, and you can also watch this video, which is the recap and review. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Watch everything over on the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. Stick around. As we say, the next event is Survivor Series in 4 weeks' time. So in around 3 weeks, we'll probably be doing our predictions there. If there's even a card decided by then, we know what it's like. It'll probably be the day before. But we'll do as much as we can.
Pick it by colours, can't we?
Yeah, we'll just say red or blue. Yeah.
Red or blue, yeah. So, it'll be like a gender reveal. There we go. So, but anyway, that is it for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to everyone that's commented throughout all of this. And if you like what you see, as we say, like, share, and subscribe on all social media platforms. And take care. We will see you all very soon. Take care. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.